John, what I want to ask you about here is the situation, the way they go about this seems rather arbitrary, I guess. It's a human being coming up, checking your hand and saying, "Well, that's too sticky because I just know it is." So I guess I want to talk to you about this situation and was this the right move with Scherzer? Is this the right way to go about it in the future with these substance checks?
Not knowing every detail, it doesn't seem right, doesn't feel right, but that doesn't mean it ultimately isn't right from the view of the umpire. But I would feel better, honestly, if five different umpires had five different pitchers that
Yeah.
they deemed that when it's one umpire. I'm not getting into the weeds. I just don't think at this point Max Scherzer would be in a position to utilize something that he didn't feel was absolutely on the up and up. And to have him wash his hands and to hear the detail, the way he explained it, the tough part for me is it's an automatic 10 games.
Yeah.
And what if somebody was wrong? And those scenarios, it's like ejecting a guy wrongfully. You don't get to re-enter him back into the game.
Right.
I've been part of that before. I've been ejected when I didn't deserve to be ejected, and it cost me a game. But that kind of human element exists in our game. I think there's answers to this. I know we've focused on the rule changes. That's going to be great for the game, but we have to get this right moving forward. We have to figure out what is acceptable and what isn't. We know human nature is going to push the envelope. And for those people who skirt it around the edges, well, then they're going to get dinged, and they rightfully should. But I think the ball and the surface of the ball has to be figured out. We got too much technology. We have too many resources. And there are ways to make rosin act and react pretty sticky. And I think that's the case here. And we need to figure it out, because this won't serve baseball well if we get more and more of these and we've got people claiming that they're innocent.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough.
I wonder, I don't know the exact answer, and I don't know if you know the answer either, but one thing Scherzer said the other day after the game that I found to be interesting is he was asked how to better help this situation so this doesn't happen. And one thing that was suggested, with all the technology in the game today, you can look and within a few seconds know if somebody's spin rate is through the roof higher than their average or right on par. So I guess, is this too much? Is there a world in which an umpire can come over, deem a pitcher's hand too sticky, and then maybe put on the headset like you would a review and talk to somebody before just ejecting them and getting them suspended?
It's a good question. I would be a little nervous of the randomness of not having your best stuff one day.
Yeah.
I guess the big thing would be a tremendous spike in the wrong direction, meaning your spin rate's absurd one game. Those numbers, I guess we can get pretty close to knowing what the average for a person is. But when the conditions are in LA, or the conditions, I guess you'd have to look at the conditions.
Yeah.
If the conditions are pretty cold and really wet, and then that spike happens, maybe you could have a concern there. But when it's we're getting to the point where from late May, June, July, August, there should be no issues. Zero. Like, unless you're in a dry environment like Colorado or Arizona. And to me, that's where we took the game too far. When there should be no issues in the summer months and pitchers' spin rate was going up, we know what happened, right? Yeah. And that's the problem. When you get late in the year, October, getting a grip is difficult, and using rosin, which they deemed, for everybody to be legal, that's when we have to be careful. Yeah. Technology is great, but there are some randomness that could happen for a pitcher just doesn't have it one day and it lowers his number, and the next day he feels good. So it's a good question, and it's probably a good barometer to use. I wouldn't make it an absolute, though.
Yep, I agree with that after hearing you talk about it.